Hello, sir. How are you doing?
Oh, hello, sir.
After a long time.
Very, very long time. And
Yes.
yes, it's been, I think, quite a long while since we have met here again.
Yes, true.
So, I mean, as always, it's very nice to, and it's been quite hectic working days also.
Yes.
But no other good decision to relax, come here and spend some time with you.
Okay, you mean nothing better than this?
Yeah, this would always be my obvious choice.
Oh, great, sir. So today,
Yeah.
I just thought since the year is coming to an end, we'll wind up by going through some headlines related to Bangalore city.
Absolutely, that's a
So if
wonderful
it turns
topic.
out well, we can do the same thing for India and the world also.
Sure, sure. That's a wonderful topic. Yes.
So I'm jumping straight away into this. This has been actually planned for a long time.
Right.
That we always wanted to summarize news
Right.
in a certain way, at least once in a week,
Right.
sometime back.
Hmm.
So that it's a clutter-free delivery of summary of whatever has happened, and because otherwise there is a lot of clutter.
Yes, yes.
People tend to
Miss
basically
information.
not only miss it, not have time to go through it,
Hmm.
and especially senior citizens would find it more
People
difficult
who would
today.
more
The way
like to
the
have the daily
screen
routines,
appears
yes.
on your the news appears in your screen. So many scrollers, so many pop-ups, and at least 3 different ways in which news is being delivered today in news channels.
Right.
One is a scrolling, what do you call that? A banner,
The scrollers which come
scrolling
down
thing at the
the
bottom.
TV, yeah. Huh.
And then is some one that pops into
up.
a screen, and
Right.
third is a speaking person, a talking head,
One
basically
who
delivering.
delivers the
So
news. Right.
these 3 are not necessarily congruent.
Hmm.
They are mostly, half the time they are not related to each other. So if a person needs to really consume news today, he needs to put a lot of effort, and it's not
True.
very senior citizen friendly. So we had decided some time back we'll round up.
Yes, yes, we did.
Maybe
that,
this is a start of this can provide us a start depending on how it goes.
yes, it's
But
quite
anyways,
interesting,
so
yes.
coming to 2020 year,
Right.
so what I thought, I'll just pick up 3 headlines related to Bangalore month-wise, and we'll just review them,
Absolutely.
so that we can have a nice summary of how the year went by.
Looking forward to that. No problem.
So I straight away jump
Yeah.
into January.
Right.
So it's Jan 2020, and there's one headlines from Indian Express,
Okay.
which says Bengaluru's Jayadeva flyover demolition on January 20th,
Yes.
Jan 20, that is 2020,
Right.
and here are the traffic restrictions you need to know. So what's your thoughts on this Jayadeva flyover demolition? Is it a boon, a bane, necessity in the long term, whether it will benefit people? What are your thoughts?
Well, it's a very interesting question to begin with. Personally, I would think that it's not a really good decision to demolish an existing flyover. Basically because, as my memory goes back, this flyover is just about, I think, 10 or 12 years old or something, if I can recollect.
Okay.
And the idea behind building this flyover then was so to facilitate smooth flow of traffic from the city side to the Banerghatta side on one end, and from the city side to the Hosur side on the other end. So that was the main idea why this flyover was constructed, with all the ramps and everything. But as all of us know that with the increasing traffic in Bangalore, any such decision at a point of time where, when there are a lot of other things also in the fray, probably a demolition of a good flyover, because that flyover hadn't damaged as far as I remember. It was only to, try to facilitate some more overseas like look or something like that, which I would think. But because as of now the existing flyover was serving the purpose, unless of course the roads had to be widened. But I feel that, they should have stayed for a bit longer rather than demolishing that flyover, and address some other contentious issues which are surrounding the state. So probably I think the time for the demolition could have been better, according to me.
Okay. So here's the next headline from January.
Right.
This is from Times of India.
Right.
Bengaluru has the world's worst traffic congestion. Mumbai at number 4. Your thoughts?
Yes, I have. Basically, I've lived in Mumbai for about 5 years and in Maharashtra for about 20 years. So yes, then the traffic situation then was totally different, and I happened to visit Mumbai about 2 to 3 years back. Then the traffic situation was totally different. But as you rightly say, Bangalore's traffic, I don't think there is anything to really feel bright and happy about, because day by day it's just getting worse. And not only that, because the powers to be, I feel they need to be better organized to manage such a huge traffic, and they need to involve more people, involve more citizens,
Public involvement. Okay.
and try to get their views, because finally there have been Bangaloreans like us, for that matter, who have lived in Bangalore for over 50 years now. I mean, then calling us for a discussion, and we would be able to present them the comparisons of what was good then and what is bad now, and they would definitely get a better idea from us and people of our generation. So I would always feel that citizens should be involved in any such issues where an existing infrastructure can be improved or anything like that. So Bangalore traffic definitely needs sure shot attention. It needs a quick attention. Otherwise, things will go out of hand.
But do you also agree it's the world's worst traffic congestion? Isn't that an exaggeration or what?
World's worst, of course. I have seen even traffics in Bangkok and other places. But Bangkok, even if I have seen the traffic, it does take time. But it is not as unorganized as I find it here, because here, even people drive on the footpaths also, because thinking that as if it is their own space to move around, totally forgetting the pedestrians and trying to injure them or even, fatally hurt them.
Right.
But overseas, I think they don't go to that extent where they at least violate the norms. But I can understand, due to a large congregation of vehicles or a large number of vehicles, the traffic may be more in those places. But here, the unorganized way of movement of vehicles is really a very, very sorry state of affairs. And I definitely agree with you that if not the worst now, it is at least going near to the worst.
Okay.
Yeah.
So third headline from January,
Yes.
the Bangalore is from Indian Express.
Yes.
It says Bengaluru Institute declares a 2-day shutdown after anti-Modi graffiti row. This happened, I think, somewhere in Church Street, and it was against the CAA, anti-CAA protest which happened at the start of this year. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Bengaluru Institute is the club, is it? Which
No.
you're talking about?
It's a Bengaluru Institute. They are not named it
Okay.
due to whatever the reason,
Okay.
branding or legal reasons.
Okay.
They just said Bengaluru Institute declares a 2-day shutdown after anti-Modi graffiti. It happened
Okay.
in Church Street, as I remember. There's a arts college or some kind of private institute, and the students of those institutes took to spraying, graffiti, anti-CA and anti-Modi graffiti in
the
the shutters.
slogans and
in
all
the
those
shutters.
things.
Yeah.
Right,
Do you
right.
remember that?
I have a faint remembrance actually. But
Okay.
I have seen, yes, I have heard about anti-graffiti acts happening.
Anti-Modi graffiti.
Anti-Modi graffiti
Yeah,
acts, yes. Well, I mean, what according to me I feel is that probably the reason behind this, whether it's induced by one particular organization or anything like that, I mean, that needs to be thought about, because an institute as a whole shutting, or if it is only one institute which is shutting, then definitely I think there could be something more attached to it rather than an entire a society or a state or a country agreeing to what has happened. So probably these sort of incidences, whether it is influenced by someone or it is an act of one particular identity trying to gain more identity, well, I feel that even though such protests are happening on a larger scale, that should be limited to one particular space which is earmarked for conducting any such protest or any such, if you want to voice your dissent or anything like that, rather than trying to force an institute or anything to close down or shut operations or anything like that. Whatever it is, I mean, people have the right to get disappointed on many aspects. So, but if they want to voice their opinion, I think it should be a more organized way, and try to talk to people and find out, I mean, how many support them, how many oppose them, or something like that. I mean, then you can always voice your opinion.
Okay, I move on to February 2020 now.
Yes.
From Live Mint, there was a headline which read, Paytm Payments Bank partners Ola and Uber to issue fast tags to 1 lakh drivers. So fast tag was big, I think they made it
Yes.
mandatory.
Yes.
So what are your thoughts on that? Around February, FASTag was made.
Yes, yes, I
there was
think
a huge drive by government, no? Transport Minister.
Yes, and
Gadkari especially, Nitin Gadkari was pushing for
yes,
FASTag for all the vehicles. So during that period.
yes.
So what are your thoughts?
In fact, I have also been, a witness to one of my very close friends' struggle in achieving a FASTag, because though the FASTag is definitely an advantageous thing, but the way they had scheduled the rollout of FASTags, I think it should have been more sense placed into it, because what they did is, because the time limit was also less, and they were not clear as to who is the authorized person who is going to really issue or roll out these FASTags. And I am a witness not only to my close friends' struggle, because I have been a part of that, and both of us had gone there, and we spent time up to 8:30 in the night without really having any information about who is going to support or where we are going to get support. And finally, and that too, my friend had to leave out of town on business the next day. So it was a sort of a chaotic situation. But no doubt, FASTag is good. What I feel is, to be very frank, today even if I travel outside and pass over all the toll gates and everything, even if there is FASTag also, there is equal amount of traffic, and there is only one lane which is earmarked for FASTag. So I feel it's a good thought of having a FASTag, but they should dedicate more lanes, and they should also prioritize vehicles which are more which need FASTag more. Probably these heavy duty vehicles like trucks and all, maybe they can have their own time, because they don't have that much of a hurry, which I guess. But there are other vehicles which do need the priority. But it's a good idea from the government, but with a more well organized way.
There's a related development which happened yesterday, sir, around yesterday.
Okay.
I'm just trying to detour, because
okay.
related, very interesting.
Okay.
Where the transport minister says that by 2022 or by start of 2023, they would have done away with all the toll gates, and they'll use GPS technology to charge toll based on their movement. Because nowadays all vehicle movements are anyways tracked using GPS.
Yes.
And he expects that in that case, if that is rolled out, then the toll gate collections could quadruple from the current 30,000 crores to nearly 1.2 lakh crores per annum. So I just wanted to pitch in. We'll probably look at it at the end of 2021.
No, this is a real information, because I think if I had not heard about this.
Right.
But then just about a 2-year window for this.
Right.
I think how long they are going to really be able to do that is anybody's guess.
Right.
It's quite an interesting thing. Yeah.
The next headline from February is from Bangalore Mirror. It says you can now get an award for conserving water. Your thoughts on conservation of water and
finally
awards?
Yes, I think. Yes, good initiatives should be recognized.
Okay.
But I wouldn't say that anybody who conserves water should be presented with an award or anything like that. But it is for his own good that water, which is a very scarce commodity, or which is slowly going to become a very scarce commodity, it needs more focus, it needs more attention. And yes, if they decide on some things like that, which can motivate people to do that job, I think it's a good thought, which can be implemented.
Right, sir. Then I move into March 2020,
where
the dread starts, the lockdown dread, and I think for the next 3 months it was all Corona news.
Yes.
So we can probably bunch up a few headlines and take it up together.
Yeah.
So March 2020 in Bangalore, there is a news from a website called TechCrunch, which reads like this: Google employee in Bangalore tests positive for coronavirus. Okay, and then there is another article related to the same thing in March. This is from Mint. It says Karnataka places order for more ventilators as corona cases rises. So, what's your overall thought on how Bangalore fared with coronavirus so far? Has it done exceedingly well or met your expectations, or it could have done better? What do you think?
I definitely feel it should have done better, because more in the initial stages. Because at a time when Bangalore even realized that they were in for a shock, the untoward or the unwanted had already happened. Because the way, in fact, I think the first, as my memory goes, if it is correct, the first case of death also happened in Bangalore itself or something like that. The first corona case. Around that, but by that time itself they should have really done.
First one happened in Belgaum, sir, actually.
In Belgaum?
Yeah.
Okay.
In Karnataka it was Belgaum.
Okay.
Our focus is only Bangalore news anyway.
Okay, fine. No, I mean, taking that, like a cue out of that, we should have really thought about doing things which we did late in June or July, much earlier in April, so that the spurt of the virus could have been at least controlled to a certain extent. Because what I felt was, I mean, even about 1 or 2 months back, as I read in the newspapers, thousands and thousands of beds which were preserved for COVID patients never were occupied. And otherwise, very costly developments like a rail coach being converted into a COVID care center.
Right.
When all those facilities were there, people were still struggling to get space in a hospital or a bed or anything like that. Why didn't the people make use of these facilities, for which thousands and thousands of rupees were spent, I would say. So I think definitely you could have done much better, and probably more amount of testing, which is again happening now, could have happened earlier. So and testing up to the level that really, it should not be just a test for the sake of it. At least try to go further and try to find out what could be the solutions. I think taking all this into consideration, probably we could have done better, is what I feel.
Okay, so we roll into April, sir.
Right.
So Economic Times reports, companies moves jobs away from India's coronavirus shakes up back office. What are your thoughts on that? Companies moving jobs. I mean, is it exaggeration or because did it really happen? We don't know. Because is it a clickbait or attention-grabbing headline?
Yes, that needs to
be. Does it feel like that? Because even I, being part of the IT sector also,
right.
Even I have not come across any such shaking. This kind, whatever this headline tries to project, I have not seen something like that happen.
Yes, it actually puzzles me also, because moving jobs out of India, I don't think, that really would have happened, because the world was struggling out of coronavirus, and even if they would have moved any job outside, really don't know which country would have accepted people from here. So, my thoughts, I'm not really sure whether this, as you rightly said, whether
it
this
sounds
really
more
happened.
fake.
Yeah, it sounds more fake.
Okay. So, next one is from Bangalore Mirror.
Right.
Again, we are on April.
Right.
It says BMTC and KSRTC have no money to pay salaries. Now, we are not even 1 month or 48 days into the lockdown.
Right.
And already this kind of headline comes in the paper. Because, lack of volume.
Right.
Is it true? Even if you take this headline to be true,
right,
isn't it a bit of shameful thing that they don't even have money to support 1 month's this thing, salary?
No, I know. Yes, it definitely is a thought to worry, because if you ask my frank opinion, BMTC or KSRTC have always reported losses. I think it's only fair to say that they have just gone one step ahead and they have just said that we don't have money to pay salaries now. But when they could really take care of the system in a better way, or take it up to the next level, that time they slept, I would say. They slept because they should have really thought about something unique. Because these days what happens, government spends a lot of money to send people overseas. I know they say that they are going to send them there for some training and all those things, and to visualize how they work, operate there and all. But when they come back here, it is the same state of affairs. So I think that the same thing can be applied here as well. These two transport sectors have always reported losses, and I also saw some news some days back that they were on a strike as well. All these things probably, I think from a people-centric point of view, it doesn't really help.
No, the objective of the recent strike was not money. That was more to basically their demand was they be considered as government employees.
Yes.
That was a different agenda.
That was a different
But of course,
agenda.
they did go on a strike.
So yes, I feel, that's always been the case in both of them. And having no money to pay salaries and all, it really looks a bit more, bit more disturbing, as well as a little bit absurd also to say. So that's how it is.
So next headline, staying in April, New India Express.
Yeah.
It says, a loco pilot in Bengaluru digs deep into his pockets, feeds hungry amid lockdown. So, how have you seen this kind of charitable acts by individuals, sir? Has it touched you? Have you also done something like this during the coronavirus crisis?
Yes, charitable acts. I have had an opportunity to contribute to a couple of organizations after a lot of soul searching and everything, because these were the moments where even fraudulent organizations might just come forward and say that they are a charitable organization and they would like to do that. But as I said, it involved a lot of soul searching in my case, where I have had an opportunity to contribute 1 month's meal expense to an orphanage, which I did. So I was very happy about that. And yes, and I have also seen many good people, good Samaritans coming forward and trying to contribute their bit. So it was a real good thing, and probably there is no end to this as such, because Corona has had such a long-standing damage. There is much more than this to be done, but this could just be the beginning. So yes, it's a good step forward.
So I move into May, sir.
Yeah.
So there is a headline from Mint.
Yeah.
It says the mystery of the loud unknown noise levels rattles residents.
Yes.
That is, there was a sonic boom in May.
Yes, I
which
have heard
became
about
very famous in east and south of Bangalore.
Yes,
if you
yes.
remember.
And finally, it turned out to be an aircraft, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
But what are your thoughts on that, sir?
Sonic boom. What I feel is like.
You wouldn't have had a direct experience because you're in north of Bangalore.
Yes.
But those who are in south and east or south and west, I think they had a real Whitefield area and all. They all heard it. Almost 15 kilometers could hear that. That's what I understood. Windows shook and all those stuffs. Any of your friends residing in those areas also spoke about it?
No, actually, I didn't hear much from a couple of people whom I know who are residing that side. But yes, a few others, I heard that they did experience a deafening noise and all.
Some even thought it's an earthquake.
It's an earthquake, and finally, it turned out to be a passing of an aircraft.
Right.
But I have had one such experience, not direct experience, an indirect experience. Of a jetliner in the initial days when I was in Mumbai, of a jetliner passing over the Mumbai airport, and the glasses of the Mumbai airport, some glasses of Mumbai airport just broke due to the vibrations of the aircraft. But I think those are all mechanical happenings. So probably I think.
But the surprising thing is, it took more than 2 days for that to be reported. Whatever the reason. This was a mystery, unsolved mystery for up to more than 48 hours. Subsequently, they said, so I really, it's like strange. Why it would take so much time for issuing a clarification?
Yeah, I agree with you, because any such happening, because these days particularly our country, I would say in specific, we are surrounded with various types of threats around us. So I think yes, happenings such as those should be reported much earlier, rather than trying to take some time out and trying to arrive at some reality.
Right, sir. So 2 more headlines from May.
Yes.
Both are related to again COVID.
Yes.
One says, one is from Bangalore Mirror.
Right.
Where it says, cancel exams. Demand VT students. That is one. And second is reported by Times of India. It reads like this: stale food and filthy loose. Paid hotel quarantine in Bangalore turns hellish for returnees. Two things are there.
Hmm.
VTU students' demand was because online classes were not being conducted properly. That was the basis on which they said you cancel the exams. So, what are your thoughts on these two headlines?
Yeah, online education, I would say I would firmly say that I am not a big fan of online education at all, because it is a different complexion altogether, because it also diminishes one's interest to particularly focus on the subject which is being taught. And it also, the other reason is because you are not the only independent individual who is focusing. Your attention is deviated to various other things, because at home you are subjected to many things other than only, maybe even if you are focusing on online classes or anything like that. So there is a tendency that there could be interferences, and that will spoil your mindset when you are studying. So I am really not a great fan of online classes. But as the students of VTU had demanded for cancellation of the classes.
Yeah, exam. Yeah.
Right. Was that an online exam or?
No, it was proper exam.
Proper exam.
Based on online course, online teaching.
Okay, there can never be an online exam as such.
No, you can
have it.
You can.
Okay. So I was thinking that
that's the old legacy mindset that's at play.
Yeah, exams again. I mean, if we strictly wanted to follow the COVID protocol, where nothing should have functioned during those tense periods, then nothing should have been functioned. I mean, there is no need for somebody to come out to you and request you to cancel, because those were the days when the virus was on a very high percentage. So I feel that, I always feel that there should be one decision taken by one person who is handling the particular problem. Because if there are 10 people coming and telling different things, then it also keeps people under guess, as well as you are not in a position to arrive at any firm decision. So I always feel, even if the men who matter are concerned, there should be one particular person who announces on the behalf of the government, so that people will be in the same page.
Right. How about this institutional quarantine in hotels, sir, where they had problem with food and filthy loose?
That is very disappointing to hear, actually. Okay. Because institutional quarantine in hotels is always a question mark. Because much, even in normal circumstances, you can't really depend on the cleanliness of any hotel. Because always, they are commercial minded, and they will try to always take that available shortcut to see that their interests are met. So, but I think as far as quarantines were concerned, that again could have been well organized. Even they could have taken even nursing homes for that matter, and they could have given a very good, probably a good arrangement, so that they could have maintained the required 6 feet distance and all those things, rather than going to a hotel or anything like that, which is always a question mark. Yes.
So we are rolling into June 2020, sir.
Yes.
There's a headline from Deccan Herald which reads like this.
Right.
Bangalore Metro Rail Corporation Limited, BMRCL,
right,
cuts trees 10 hours before High Court hearing. So in the name of development, how ruthless can we get? I think they would have thought the trees chopping, they can just get away with some fines, right? End of day.
That's very ruthless, because whatever said and done, I think it would have been much better if they had tried to use some more sense and tried to see if they could have had a little bit of an alternative, because cutting trees is always like killing a life. I mean, though.
No, but here the surprising thing is, just 10 hours before court hearing, they have cut it off.
So they were very positive that the court is going to.
I don't know really. I mean, that surprises me also. Anyways.
Yeah.
So Times of India reports.
Right.
Top brass on toes as ASI succumbs 22 cops test positive for COVID-19. That is one related to COVID in June.
Right.
And one more report headline from Bangalore Mirror,
right,
which says the mask marshals are coming after you. So what are your thoughts, sir? Assistant Sub-Inspector dies and 22 cops testing positive. There was a panic scare, you remember?
There was.
I know. Police stations even closed.
Yes,
in some areas.
More than 25 police stations were closed.
Right.
And I think probably again the police department was seen as one of the COVID warriors.
Yes.
And they also did their
frontline warriors.
Frontline warriors.
Right.
So of course I would appreciate that they also did their bit, and they were also there during trying moments to see that whatever best they could do.
Right.
But again, COVID warriors should have been given more sort of an attention when they were actually fighting the disease, because like anybody and everybody could have been tested positive, and many of them, you never know, like even people like us also would have the virus would have come and attacked us and gone also.
Now, could it be that the ASI was overzealous and thought that nothing can touch me kind of attitude, nothing will happen to me kind of attitude?
That could be, yes. I mean, if there is a little bit of a lethargy creeping in his case, could have definitely led to this, because at least he should have just imagined that what an implication it could have if one policeman tests positive, because the others, out of just fear,
Right.
they may not attend the duty itself. So that's how it is.
So how about the mask marshals, sir? BBMP's mask marshals,
Yeah, mask marshals is
who went around catching people for not wearing masks and
they
fining them.
They are still doing it. But
So you appreciate that initiative?
I appreciate that initiative, but unfortunately it's not being followed, or it's not being implemented consistently, is what I feel. Because even if marshals are there today, you find them tomorrow they are not there at all. So in any particular place, and they should have a consistency in whatever operation they announce, so that at least if it is consistent, then people will have that much amount of fear in them, so that yes, this is really going to happen. But if I come today as a marshal and I am absent tomorrow, then it makes no sense.
So there is a related headlines that will coming later.
Right.
But right now we'll just move into July.
Right.
So we are in July 2020.
Yeah.
There's a headline from Times of India.
Right.
It says Sunday curfew to kick in on Saturday night itself. So you remember that weekly tamasha?
Yes, weekly curfews from Saturday to Monday.
Saturday night to Monday morning.
Yes.
And prior to that, there was only night curfew for some time.
Yes.
Every night, 8 p.m. they
8 p.m.
started, then they moved it to 10 p.m.
Next day morning. Yeah.
So do you think Sunday curfews really made a difference? Or was it miscalculation, or
I mean, it could have made a difference in a very, very marginal way, because most of the crowd, the holiday goers, they come out on Sundays. Like probably they go out, visit malls in abundance, in huge numbers and all those things. And these are the type of places where the virus could really spread indefinitely. So probably I think it could have made a difference, but only marginally. I don't think it would have made 100% difference or anything like that. But I think yes, marginally it might have stopped those people from gathering at large density places like malls or markets or anything like that. And to some extent it would have helped in containing the spread.
okay. So there's related headlines from TOI, that is Times of India, which says storage on rent in demand as WFH techies leave Bangalore.
Yes, I have heard these also. I mean, there has been a lot of people who have been moving out of Bangalore, particularly after all the corporates announced a work from home or work from anywhere sort of a policy. So I have heard about people, for about 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees per month or something like that. They've been storing all their furnitures and things in a different place. But again, that is again subject to lot of atmospheric effects, because it again depends on when these people are going to come back. If they are happy with wherever they have gone, they might not even come back. Then what happens to the things here? Then again it might throw up a new challenge for the citizens of this state in the shape of an atmospheric effect. So I mean, I feel it would have been a good thought then, but again it should be timed, so that after a particular period it is either renewed or cancelled based on whatever position they are in at that time.
Okay, so there's another headline from the Hindu.
Yeah.
We are in July 2020. It reads like this: Government approves online betting in Bangalore Turf Club because of COVID, no? So this is a early development that was much earlier than the bubble games of
Yes.
IPL.
Yes.
So what are your thoughts? Online betting finally in India. State government actually, the state government's initiative. The state government allows the Bangalore Turf Club to
Bet online.
conduct online betting. Yes.
I feel first of all I am not in for betting at all.
Okay.
So because betting is a totally different thing altogether. Online I've seen people just getting into the turf clubs and all these games and all those things only to bet and see that they can make some amount of money. But even if they want to do it, even if I
So
was
you are against betting and gambling in principle.
in principle.
Now,
yes.
what I was trying to ask is, online betting allows many people to participate, right? Your market suddenly expands.
It does.
So that's a good thing for BTC, no?
Revenue wise.
Revenue-wise, because government also ultimately gets a share in that. It's a win-win situation, no?
That way, yes, but again, online betting again. Okay, if I would put myself into shoes of a better, for that example, one who bets, for example, just for a change. But still, I would, not really look into online or anything like that, because there is always a security hazard there. Because you never know that there are a lot of fraudulent people who are constructing online portals only to make money. And these betting portals could very well land up in one of those categories. So if I was in for betting or anything of that sort, then I would always go to the turf club personally and see what I can do the best. Rather than online betting. But as you said, if it is there are many sources of revenues on which government depends as such. Then for their benefit, probably they could have done it.
So just as an aside, sir, I just wanted to give an update.
Yeah.
I've heard this, I have not seen. But this online betting concept was already in place, even in BTC, since long, but in a different format.
Okay.
Like for example, if there's a race going on in Ooty,
Right.
they'll allow you to go and bet there on the Ooty race
Right.
or some other race, right?
Right.
There, what happens? They'll show you on TV.
Oh,
The
being here
Ooty race
itself
is
you
being
can.
relayed on TV.
Okay. Okay.
You go and bet and watch the TV in the same Bangalore Turf Club.
Okay.
You place the bet and everything happens. So it's a kind of semi-online kind of thing was already going on for a long time,
Earlier, long time back, is it?
based on the tie-up with other turf clubs. Just I wanted to just share with you.
That's all right. No problem. So
Anyway, you're not just as a tidbit.
no, that's all right. It's an interesting information, of course. Yes, I have heard betting being going on, and I think race courses and all. They initially, even from times immemorial, people go there only to make some extra money. So that's how it is.
So moving on to August 2020, sir.
Right.
Bangalore Mirror headline.
Yeah.
Okay. Pollution stings Bengaluru's bees in the heart.
Right.
So what do you think? Bees are important for Bengaluru or not?
Bees are definitely important for Bengaluru, I would say. Not only Bengaluru, bees are important for life itself, I would say, because they help you out with a very important ingredient in life, which is honey. So it is like bees, they have their own ways of existence as well, and anything, even if it is pollution or even if it is anything like that, which happens to a scale which is more than what is required, then it can disturb any human being. So bees are one of them, but I still feel left to themselves, bees are doing a great job.
Okay. So Bangalore Mirror headline once again: home quarantine breach is a piece of cake in Bengaluru.
So breach is a piece of cake.
Yeah, breaching home quarantine is very easy in Bengaluru. That's what they're trying to say.
that way.
Piece of cake means it's very easy.
Yes, very
effortless.
easy. Okay. Yes, I would, because home quarantine again, it has been seen as an option for going out and getting quarantined yourself in a COVID care center or a hospital. It is a piece of cake, yes, to breach it, because I think again you will be. It again depends on the size of the establishment, even at home. What space you are living and all those things. If you are living in a 10 by 10 house, it doesn't really make sense of you getting quarantined at home, because then 3 people will be living at that distance where I and you are sitting right now. So I think yes, it is a piece of cake. But
Anyway, this report actually is for people leaving the house without any second thoughts, sir.
second thoughts.
And the government came up with a solution later which was based on technology
Hmm.
that you need to identify yourself with a mobile phone and every 10 minutes they'll be sending one OTP throughout the quarantine duration and you have to enter that OTP in an app.
Oh,
So it's
okay,
not
okay.
like you download the app and keep the phone at home and go.
Okay.
Because OTP you have to keep entering.
Okay,
So you have to
every
carry
time.
the phone with you.
Okay.
So even then, the final option is you outsource that to someone to go through your phone and enter the OTP, which 90% of people won't do.
won't do. Yes.
Because
yes,
nowadays
yes.
the phone is used for so many things,
Yes.
clandestine things, promiscuous
and-
things that they don't want to hand over their phone to others.
And
So-
again, it's coming back to the piece
It is
of
a
cake.
largely
I think.
effective solution, I would say.
And coming back to the piece of cake solution, I think probably that also would have,
Piece of cake was a solution. It was easy to
no.
jump before the control was implemented using technology.
What I meant to say was, coming back to piece
Yes.
of cake, probably what people would have thought is leave their mobile phones at home and with people who are in a position to operate them so that they can do this job for them and they can.
That is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That will be 10% or less.
10%.
That's largely it will be in it will not be done like that way. Nowadays, the phone is too personal a device to be handed over to others.
Now,
not family.
yes, I agree.
There are people, but 10% maybe.
Margin, yes.
So third headline which I picked up for August is,
Right.
this is in the wake of unlock.
Right.
So this headline is coming from Times of India and it reads, Bullet owner fined rupees 57,000 for 101 violations in 11 months. So do you remember that they started increasing the fine and catching people left and right
Yes, after the unlock period.
after
yes.
the unlock period?
Yes.
So what are your thoughts on that?
I would say that if certain rules are being made for some purpose, I think it should better be followed, because rather than taking it lightly and trying to find out, I can get away with one fine or two fines, or maybe yes, tomorrow they may fine me 1,000, day after tomorrow they may fine me 2,000 or whatever it is. But then you are setting a real wrong precedent for the others also. And not only are you violating the rules, you are even motivating the other people to violate the rules. But probably what I feel is you can set an example by trying to be a bit more responsible and see that these things doesn't happen.
Right, sir. So we are moving into September 2020 now,
Right.
and the grand IPL 2020 starts as a bubble game in Dubai. Okay.
Right.
So Sports Star headline says IPL 2020, KL Rahul slams century, Punjab beats Bangalore by 97 runs.
Right.
Anyway, this headline picked up because I want to discuss about bubble games.
Right.
How do you feel? Bio bubble games, rather.
Bio bubble game. Right.
Not bubble games, bio bubble games. IPL in spectator-less environment.
Yes, I think probably I remember we had discussed about this in one of our topics related to cricket. Like I was, though the IPL Governing Council and everybody claimed that IPL has been a huge success in Dubai and all those things, though it has been played in empty stadiums. But I always feel that I think for once they could have even done without that itself, because they could have just said, yes, this is a COVID year, so why not we think about postponing it to the next year depending on how circumstances are. And and also being an Indian Premier League, I am always for the fact that it should be
But
conducted
since it's an annual event, you can't postpone. It has only cancelled.
it has to be cancelled. And
Otherwise,
that's how,
2 instances you have to play in 2021, which will be an overkill.
Yeah, that will be an
So you
overkill.
meant to cancel, not postpone, right?
I mean, yes, you can take it that way.
Okay. So second headline in September is coming from a website called Ink24.
Right.
Very interesting one.
Yeah.
Soon, Hyperloop at 1080 kilometers per hour from Bangalore city to airport in 10 minutes.
That is the helicopter ride.
It's not a helicopter ride. It is a new technology being developed by Elon Musk. Hyperloop. In underground, they'll create a tube and they'll suck out all the air so it becomes vacuum. There's no friction. So a small train-like thing will zip through that tunnel, vacuum tunnel, at the speed of over 1000 kilometers per hour.
Something similar to metro, underground metro.
Underground metro, but this is much more, technology-wise, it's much more sophisticated. So it can take you from Bangalore city to Bangalore airport, Kempegoda, in 10 minutes. So what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I've heard this for the first time. I've not heard
Okay.
about this, but anything like this, if it happens, it is always good, of course, if it can
The
minimize
first Hyperloop anyway is coming from between Bombay and Ahmedabad, sir.
Oh, is it?
That's already underway. They have
Okay.
started digging the tunnel and everything.
Okay,
Whereas here it
because
would still be a
I-
concept because we are in September 2020
Right,
when this
no.
headline comes out.
Because I have not heard about this, but again, still, if anything like that happens, it's really good. But again, everything comes at a cost, and probably once that happens, then it again depends upon what the economic situation at that time is and how much you have
Right.
to shell out to travel. If you if you would like to, if it equates a helicopter ride or something like that, I would like to say, then maybe there is a choice for you to choose which one of that is better. At least from the top you can see the city, and whereas here you are in a dark lane.
Third headline for October is coming from Deccan Herald.
Right,
So there is a committee called the Public Accounts Committee,
right.
which is abbreviated as PAC.
Mhm.
So what they are saying is,
Hmm.
cancel Bangalore Turf Club license, make it a lung space.
Hmm. Hmm.
What are your thoughts? Converting BTC into lung space.
I think this is going on for a long time, because even I have heard previous governments of Karnataka also trying to deliberate more during their tenure on this particular topic, but nothing has happened. Lung space is, yes, it's always a good thought to convert that into a lung space and put the turf club a little bit on the outskirts, because always that will serve people in two ways, because they would also like to enjoy a nice drive to the outskirts and then enjoy the race and come back. But yes, lung space would definitely be a good thought process if it is taken forward.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I am moving into October now, sir.
right.
New Indian Express headline:
Yeah.
Bengaluru Metro is 9. 48 crore users have used it so far. 9 years. It's a milestone. October 2020. Our
Oh.
BMRCL, our Bangalore Namma Metro rather.
Oh, excellent. Belated wishes to BMRCL.
Okay. So next headline comes from Times of India.
Right.
BBMP's mask mandate for solo motorists raise shackles. So what they said, BBMP,
Hmm.
even if a person inside a car
Hmm.
is solo driver,
Hmm.
he still has to wear the mask even though his windows are up.
Hmm. 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 Hmm.
So does this make sense to you? Suppose you own a car and you're driving from point A to B with windows up,
Hmm.
still you need to wear a mask even though you're the only person in the car.
Well, logically speaking, it doesn't really make a sense for me.
Okay.
Because, I mean, if your windows are up and everything, as always, you are safe. Automatically, you become safe. But then again, to not to be, like isolated from the rest of the crowd, if there is a sure shot rule which is in practice, then I would always say, I mean, there is nothing harm in not wearing a mask. So that's fine.
So the next headline for October is coming from Times of India.
Right.
It reads like this: at 106, Bengaluru topped revenge murders in 2019.
Revenge murders.
Delhi is a distant second at 86.
Hmm. This is the first time I have seen about revenge murders. But yes, of course, murders are quite common here, and I think they have been categorized into revenge murders now. And 106 is the number of murders you're talking about.
Right.
It's always distressing. Any activity of that type is always distressing. And I think you should be done away with anything like that.
Right, sir. So we are moving into November.
Yeah.
India Today headline:
Yeah.
fake Xiaomi products. India products worth 33.3 lakhs found in Bengaluru and Chennai. Xiaomi issues warning to customers. Xiaomi is that mobile company, right?
Okay, it's an Indian company?
No, it's a Chinese company,
Chinese company,
which
okay.
manufactures phones.
Okay.
So this headline says that there are fake products of the Chinese product made in China for itself,
Okay.
getting faked
In India?
and being sold in India, Bangalore and Chennai. It was 33.3 lakhs rupees worth fake goods was seized.
Oh, okay. I think at
So
a
do you
time-
think this is an emerging trend, or it's always been going on in
No,
the
because
past?
today, due to various reasons, Chinese products are being banned all over the country. So
No,
probably
that is because of a trade war.
Trade
But
war.
in general,
But, I mean-
because Indian people are gullible because they are very price conscious. That's a possibility, right?
could be also.
You always
yes.
want something very cheap.
Yes, yes.
Indians
of course.
rather.
Of course. That could also be a possibility, because I think anything and everything today can be faked. So even a person can be faked. I think he can be morphed and presented before the public. So I think, yes, there could be a sure shot possibility that this has happened. And this, for those sort of people who are trying to thrive on these sort of opportunities, for them it is good news.
Right. So the next headline in November is coming from Hindustan Times.
Yeah.
It says well-known Kannada journalist Ravi Belegere passes away.
Right.
So your
Yes,
tributes?
it's sad to hear that he is no more, because I have had an opportunity to meet him once, because he is a very good friend of one of my friends. So he was open-minded person. Any sort of information or any development which used to happen, he used to openly voice over that. He was an enterprising man, and who would bring situations as it is to the limelight of the public. So it's a loss.
So the next headline is coming from New Indian Express.
Right.
Very interesting one.
Yeah.
Newly discovered frog species named after Bengaluru city.
Oh, that's a real news.
So now Bengaluru is a frog.
I can only say quack.
Great. So I slip into December, our current and last month of the year.
Absolutely.
Times of India headline.
Right.
Bengaluru lecturers now tasked with getting students back to class. So now the onus on lecturers to bring the students.
Right.
So
right.
your thoughts?
The onus has always been on them, whether it is online or direct school.
Okay.
But online, they never really succeeded. And getting them back to class is equally a big challenge. So I'm looking at how they succeed in this, because it's already been a year, and socializing for kids and all, it has already gone for a toss. So how much more the kids are going to be motivated to go to school? The exercise starts from their independent homes. So let us see how the teachers succeed in this.
So we are nearing the end of this series.
Right.
The headlines.
Right.
So we are getting more current now.
Right.
So Times of India headlines.
Yeah.
Violence breaks out at Wistron Corp's iPhone manufacturing plant near Bengaluru.
I have heard about this,
Right.
and it's a very, very depressing news for me, because at a time when companies are leaving Bangalore and trying to go to other states, I think this is a very distressing news, because I'm not sure whether it was a made up news or whether it really happened. But either case, I think it's the image of our country and state at stake. So people who have been involved in such incidents, they should be more educated on the intricacies of those type of incidents, and there should be a more sort of a one-to-one interaction which they can solve within themselves, rather than making it a public issue and crores of worth of public property being damaged. And over and above that, it's the image of the country at stake, because Winstron is one of a very big majors in iPhone manufacturing, and they had decided to make Bangalore as the manufacturing hub and market hub also, so that they would sell the phones from here to other countries. So that's a huge development for Bangalore, which I hope that they still continue here and the problems get solved.
Okay, last headline.
Yeah.
Indian Express
Yeah.
reads farmers protest outside Bengaluru city railway station against the agricultural bill.
Agricultural bill.
So what are your thoughts?
Yes, the agricultural bill, I think there are a lot of ifs and buts which are attached to that, because farmers not only in Bangalore but even elsewhere are protesting on that. I think talking to farmers, I have even seen 10 rounds of talks, 11 rounds of talks, 12 rounds of talks. I am really puzzled and surprised that does it really need those many levels of talks to solve this bill. I really don't know what's happening behind this, but I hope there is a reasonably good conclusion for this, and people get back to life.
So that was fantastic, sir. So we rounded up, I think, Bengaluru developments in the year 2020, and we'll see how we can develop this or take this forward, this concept, at a more detailed level, depending on how our audience perceive this.
No, in fact, I think it was an excellent topic to choose, because from the as you rightly said, people may not be able to pursue or even get the latest news which they are very much entitled to, and especially the senior citizens and others. So I am really grateful to you for bringing this topic today, because it's really an interesting topic, and winding up 2020 with all these very important events which happened. It was a good discussion, and definitely I look forward to many more in the next years.
Okay. Wish you a happy new year in advance, sir.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
And it was a wonderful time today.
Right.
And we look forward to many more such periods in the new year.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening.
Thank you. Same to you.